No matter how hard Trump tries, Apple leaving India is nearly impossible. But why? Imagine a day when the President of the United States personally appeals to a tech giant like Apple to shut down its production in India and shift everything back to the US. Is that really possible? That's the burning question echoing across the global tech and business communities right now. Why? Because Donald Trump has stirred the pot once again. He's made a direct appeal to Apple CEO Tim Cook to cut down iPhone production in India and increase it in the US. But can Apple really walk away from India? Would doing so be a smart business move, or more like shooting itself in the foot? The answer: there are many reasons why this is nearly impossible. Today, we'll dive deep into this topic. But before we begin, if you are new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe so you always get the latest updates first. So, let's begin today's discussion without any further delay. Donald Trump's statement is based on high tariffs imposed by India on US products. He believes that India charges excessive taxes on American goods, which harms US companies. Trump wants companies to return to the US, manufacture domestically, create jobs, and strengthen the American economy. This approach isn't new. He has previously pressured companies to increase investments within the US. But Apple is a different case altogether because its production roots run deep, especially in countries like China and India. For Apple, India and China are its two largest iPhone assembly hubs. While China once dominated entirely, India has now gained a strong foothold. Tim Cook himself has acknowledged that nearly 50% of the iPhones sold in the US are now made in India. This means India is not just an option for Apple, it has become a key strategic center. Shifting production back to the US would not be just about tax. It would involve a complex web of logistics, workforce, costs, subsidies, and supply chains. If we look at the data, India now contributes around 15% to Apple's total global iPhone production, and that number is steadily increasing. In March 2025, Apple manufactured iPhones worth $22 billion in India. This clearly shows that Apple doesn't treat India as a mere backup, it's now a primary production hub. Moreover, the Indian government provides Apple and its manufacturing partners with various subsidies and incentives, particularly under the PLI, Production-Linked Incentive, scheme. Now the question is, what would Apple gain or lose if it shifted its production to the US? In America, labor is expensive, infrastructure costs are higher, and logistics are significantly more costly. In contrast, India offers a skilled workforce at a lower cost. With its young population, technical know-how, and favorable policies, India has become one of the top global destinations for manufacturing. Reducing dependence on China is also a major factor. Apple is already trying to diversify away from China due to political uncertainty and the fallout from trade wars. In that scenario, India emerges as the most natural alternative. On one side, there's government intervention in China. On the other, India's democratic system, political stability, and business-friendly environment. This contrast naturally draws companies in. Talking about iPhone production, a large portion is currently happening in South India, but now companies like Foxconn are preparing to set up factories in North India as well. This indicates that Apple's footprint is expanding across the country. Moreover, Apple's market share in India is still only around 8% of total sales, which means there is immense growth potential ahead. This is exactly why Apple appears committed to deepening its manufacturing operations in India. The Indian government is also fully supporting this movement. Under the Make in India initiative, the government aims to increase domestic production. To achieve this, it has introduced PLI schemes, tax incentives, and streamlined approval processes. That's why companies like Tata, Foxconn, and Wipro have also stepped into manufacturing and are becoming key partners for Apple. Another major factor is India's population and demographic dividend. Over 60% of the Indian population is young and they adopt technology rapidly. This very demographic is likely to become Apple's largest customer base in the near future. While iPhone sales in India may be modest right now, this is a high-growth segment, and it would be unwise for Apple to leave such a promising market. In fact, increasing investment here makes far more strategic sense. India's geographical location also gives it the advantage of becoming a logistics hub. Positioned between Asia, Europe, and the Middle East, global distribution becomes easier. For a company like Apple, which sells millions of units annually, a strong and reliable supply chain is absolutely essential. Fortunately, India's ports, road networks, and warehousing infrastructure are steadily improving, making that goal increasingly achievable. Looking at all these factors, it becomes clear that Trump's appeal is not as simple as it sounds. For Apple, shifting production out of India would not only be economically damaging but also strategically disastrous in the long term. Apple no longer sees India as just a supply center, it has made it a foundation for future expansion. That's why the company is also investing in R&D, distribution networks, and local partnerships in the country. If the US president's appeal is taken seriously, it appears more like a political statement than a viable economic strategy. Companies today don't operate within the borders of just one country. Their strategies are global. A multinational company like Apple makes every decision based on data, costs, logistics, policy, and future potential. And India meets all those criteria. There's no doubt that Trump wants to generate more jobs in the US, but forcing companies to comply with this vision isn't easy. Companies like Apple don't act based on political pressure. They base decisions on numbers and profitability. And right now, all the data points to one conclusion: leaving India would be a losing proposition. In short, India has now become a central pillar of Apple's global strategy. Whether it's about reducing dependency on China, cutting production costs, exploring new markets, or strengthening the local supply chain, India plays a key role in every aspect. In the near future, India may not only be assembling iPhones but could also become the birthplace of Apple's next major innovation. That's why, no matter how much pressure Trump applies, Apple leaving India is nearly impossible. And even if such a decision were ever made, it would likely be seen not as a strategic or technical review, but as a political misstep. For both India and Apple, this relationship is no longer one of convenience. It has evolved into a strategic partnership that is only set to grow stronger in the years ahead.
If it has taught you something new, do not forget to like and share this video so that this information can reach others as well. Your likes and shares are a source of inspiration for us. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. It will be our honor to answer your questions and listen to suggestions. And yes, if you like our content, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you stay connected with every new story. Thank you. GRT Business YouTube channel sources: news from various news agencies, opinion polls, and other public sources. We try to ensure that every report and summary is accurate and verified, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our aim is only to provide you with accurate information.